Hello and welcome to the Why of It All. This is episode 11. I'm so glad that you are here. As you can see, my normal co-host, the beautiful and talented Gina, is not here today. She is sick and at home resting and taking care of herself as she should be. And I'm joined instead by this lovely and talented and beautiful woman. This is my mother, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wendy Fluke. And I am so excited and so honored to have you on our show today. This is going to be a really great conversation that we've been looking forward to for a really long time. And what's great is we were going to have my mom on as the guest for today's episode anyway, and she lives in the same city as me, so she was able to just come over here and keep me company. So isn't that wonderful? Today, we are going to be deep diving into the roots of our self-perception. The subconscious beliefs and emotional programs that shape how we see ourselves, how we show up in the world, and the life experiences that we tend to have. But before we get into it, we're going to play a little bit of an ad from our sponsor, Epic Minerals. At the Why of It All, we are passionate about healing mind, spirit, and body. And that's why we're proud to be sponsored by a brand we genuinely love and trust, Epic Minerals. Created by our dear friends Patrick and Ashley, whose passion for wellness runs as deep as ours, Epic Minerals is a family-owned American small business that offers premium, mineral-based wellness products thoughtfully formulated with therapeutic-grade ingredients designed to support detoxification, mineral replenishment, and boost vitality from the inside out. Their product line includes Zeolite Extra, a heavy metal detox spray with humic and fulvic acids, Wellness Extra Capsules, a daily immune support with 72 essential trace minerals to boost energy and optimize cellular function, and Colloidal Silver Extra, a powerful, natural antimicrobial spray to protect against harmful pathogens and boost immunity. Epic Minerals offers powerful nature-based wellness that you can trust because it's healing from the inside out, crafted with integrity, and made with purpose. Head to epicminerals.net and use our exclusive code HEAL, that's HEAL, at checkout for a sweet 10% off your order. And remember, when you shop small, every purchase supports a dream and makes a real difference in the lives of a real family. Epic Minerals is more than just a wellness product company. They're part of a healing movement, and your purchase helps to keep that movement growing. It's one of the best ways to support our show and a small business we love and believe in. A huge thank you to Patrick and Ashley of Epic Minerals. They've been such huge supporters for the show. Patrick has even been helpful for us in learning how to use the technology and all of this. So anyway, we have such gratitude for them. And the products are incredible. They're very, very clean. And their sister company, Tulip Blooms, the skincare line, is freaking incredible. And I use all of it every day. So anyway, back to my mom, which is just like, I'm so amazed that I have you on right now. I'm so excited. When we originally set this up, like I said, she was going to be at her house, remote calling in, doing the split screen thing. But here she is in front of me. I have a bio prepared that I was going to read and then bring you onto the stage. It was going to be a whole production. So this is a little bit odd that I'm going to read her bio while she's sitting right next to me. But that's how we're going to do this. So my beautiful mother, Wendy Fluke, is an inner beauty expert and psychic intuitive with over 50 years of experience in the beauty industry. 25 of those spent helping people heal and transform from the inside out. Her professional journey began as a hairstylist and makeup professional, observing firsthand how external appearances often reflect internal beliefs. Over time, she realized that lasting beauty and personal fulfillment are rooted in clearing the limitation programs that exist within our subconscious mind. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is these limitation programs. Using her intuitive gifts, she now helps clients identify and rapidly dismantle these self-limiting beliefs, helping them to uncover their innate worth and recognize their identity as a fractal of God's unconditional love. Wendy's passion for this work grew out of her own life story, having been raised in a harsh, unloving environment that led to feelings of deep unworthiness and rejection. Through years of self-mastery and healing, she transformed her life into one filled with vitality, loving relationships, and the kind of health and energy that makes her look decades younger than her true age Am I right? Like, you're going to eventually, can we tell them?
Yeah.
You guys aren't going to ever be able to guess. This woman just turned 70. Like, holy crap. I am a lucky, lucky woman if I take after her. Today, Wendy guides others worldwide to shed their mental and emotional illusions, freeing them to live with limitless potential, resilience, and unwavering self-love. Ladies and gentlemen, my mom. So this is awesome. You know, I definitely want to start with your story, your backstory. Can you share a little bit about your upbringing and the emotional climate that you were raised in? Of course, I know, but for the purposes of our audience understanding.
Without dwelling on it too long, I was raised in an environment completely devoid of love. That's the way it felt. There was no, you're a pretty little girl, no, I love yous, no, I'm proud of you. Pretty much, it was devoid of all that. And I was the oldest and the scapegoat in the family, which made it even more fun. My mother was a pretty narcissistic, and my father was emotionally distant and underneath the surface seething with anger about probably his marriage to my mom. So my mother was very verbally abusive, and my dad did not protect us.
Yeah.
And it was a harsh way to grow up. But now that I look back, I can see how that all cultivated within me and was a catalyst for helping me to be the kind of woman I need to be for the work I'm doing now.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah. So how did growing up in that incredibly toxic environment, how did that experience shape your beliefs about yourself and the world around you as you were growing up, teenager, young adult, before you started doing all of the inner work that you've been doing now for decades? How do you think that experience shaped your beliefs about yourself?
Well, the first one that jumps out to me is that I had the belief I wasn't worthy of love and that I was unlovable. You know, because if your own parents don't love you, why should anyone else? They're the ones that are supposed to love you, right? And I thought they didn't. And I didn't feel really any love from my siblings either. So I literally thought there was something wrong with me. And I want to make it clear, it wasn't in my conscious mind, it was more in my subconscious.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So how that affects you is that when people come into your life and want to love you, you really can't believe it.
Yeah.
You don't trust it. You don't believe it. I thought I felt very rejected. And I felt like a victim in my life. I thought that life was against me and I had to survive it somehow. I learned to be very, very resilient. That, that's a good thing. And I also learned to think for myself, which I'm very glad that I cultivated that.
Yeah.
Also, there was no parental supervision per se. So I learned to make my own decisions. I learned to trust my own intuition. And I learned to be independent. So I'm grateful for those aspects.
And I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things that we focus on in this show is the gifts and the blessings and the opportunities that come through the experiences that we have, the traumas, the challenges, the struggles, adversity of all kinds. It's like everybody knows we're supposed to look for the silver linings, but sometimes it's really hard to do that when we're talking about the things the traumas that created all of the deepest, darkest feelings that we have. It's really hard to look for those silver linings. Clearly, obviously, it's much easier to do in hindsight from the healed perspective,
Yes,
from this new vantage point of having healed those wounds. But I think it is really important to bring that up. And I love that you just threw that in from the very, very beginning of like, I'm not going to I'm telling the story. It's like you're telling the story of what happened to you because I asked you for your story for the purposes of this show. But you are insistent on not dwelling on those things and always, always focusing and recognizing the skills you attained through the survival process.
Yes.
So that's great. I
Yes.
really love that. So you were walking through life with these subconscious beliefs underneath of not worthy, unlovable, no support, on your own. You're walking through life. How do you think that these beliefs that you had that were subconscious, it's not like you're walking around
Right.
thinking these conscious thoughts all the time. How did they affect your relationships? How did they affect the way that you interacted with the world?
Well, I would have to say that I was always thinking, and I think a lot of people still think this, that love is outside of you and it's something you have to go find or go get. And so I was always searching for evidence that somebody would love me. And in my romantic relationships in particular, I definitely bought into the white picket fence theory, like I'm going to get married and then someone is going to love me and take care of me forevermore.
And it'll solve all my
And
problems.
it'll solve all my problems. But the thing is you can find a great guy to marry you. But if you don't love yourself first and know that you are love inside, it doesn't grab hold. And you always suspect that that person will eventually leave you or reject you or abandon you.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, you interpret any behaviors that don't say I love you very strongly, or or maybe this person isn't consciously showing their love to you. You interpret that, but of course they don't love me. So that's kind of what life was like for me in relationships.
So in relationships, even if the person that you are with does truly love you, you've got this underlying belief of I'm not lovable. And so you doubt
Yes.
that love. You can't receive it. And you're in a state of constantly second guessing and questioning where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
And imagine what that feels like to be on the receiving end of that. For the other person in the relation who's like, I'm here, I'm doing my best, I'm loving you how I love you. And even if that type of love would have been perfect for someone else, let's say, in your case, you couldn't receive it for what it was.
Unless it was truly demonstrative. If there was a lack of demonstration of love, I interpreted that as meaning that I was not loved. And I needed a lot of overt evidence, you might say. So
So it's like an insecurity around love, just
Yes,
an insecurity
yes.
in general.
Absolutely. And it creates, when you have that unworthiness or that I'm not lovable thing running in your screensaver of your consciousness, I like to call it, then the lens that you see the world is nobody really loves me. And if somebody jumps out and really proves it to me, I might believe it, but probably not. I won't trust it.
It's a tough way to go through life.
Yeah, it's a good thing I put a stop to that.
It's a real good thing you did put a stop to that, and I'm the beneficiary. Was there a specific moment or turning point where you began to realize that these beliefs weren't true? Like, at what point in your life, what aha did you have? What sparked it off where you started to break free from these old self-limiting beliefs and patterns?
Well, I started to learn about them through Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. That was my first book into having, that I read, that I had an aha moment. And I started to realize that I did have some of these beliefs she talks about in the book. And then I was on a mission to figure out how I can delete them or deactivate them. And I discovered a modality called theta healing many years ago. And my work today is really not the same as theta healing, but it started me in teaching me how to be a limitation program or belief detective.
Yeah.
And I literally have a supernatural gift to be able to either look at myself, because I was my first science experiment where I worked on myself, or when I'm working with a client, I immediately get intuitive transmissions as to what their limitation programs are.
Yeah.
And then I have a special ability that's so cool where I can deactivate other people's beliefs for them.
Yeah.
So what happens is the ego mind identity, as R.J. Spina, one of my teachers, calls it, is the voice in the head. And sometimes I like to call that the fake character or the yapping chihuahua.
I like yapping chihuahua. That's the one that I like. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been in a house with a yapping chihuahua? It's incredibly annoying.
No judgment to all of you out there with yapping chihuahuas.
That's right.
I'm sure they're lovely, lovely
I'm
dogs.
sure they have their good sides.
And they're very tiny and cute. Okay.
So the voice in the head is really, really loud.
Yeah.
And it always speaks from lack or worry, or fear.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we have this dynamic is when we are born, we misunderstand and we think that we are either the body, because the body has the five senses, or we believe we are the voice in the head. And what I've discovered, Melanie, is that we are neither one of those things. So when you drive your car, you're driving down the road, are you the car or are you the driver?
The driver.
All right. So you are absolutely not the body. You're within the body, but you are not the body. And then the voice in the head is simply like AI almost, like a computer program that collects data and it memorizes every single thing that's ever happened to us, plus its own interpretation of what that thing meant.
Yeah.
And it's all a big fat story. And then the yapping chihuahua always is either in the past or the future.
Right.
When it takes you into the future, it's worrying about things. So
Right.
it's making up stories about what's could potentially happen next. It actually locks into those things and believes that those things are
Right.
going to happen. So it's never in the present moment.
Right. And it's always in a state of trying to protect you from some perceived danger
Yes.
based on past experience or imagined future experiences.
Yes.
And so that mind chatter, that thing that's always in a state of the yapping chihuahua, judging, assuming, jumping to conclusions, making fear-based assumptions, all of that, it's based on things that are not actually relevant to the present moment or who you are in this present moment. We're always operating from the fear-based old programming or anticipated future fear-based programming. Aren't we cute?
Aren't we cute and funny all at the
Yes.
same time? And so awakening into your infinite potential, what that really means is all of a sudden waking up to the fact that you are not the voice in your head.
Yeah.
You become the awareness of the thoughts. And when you are noticing that you're thinking a thought that's making you feel bad, which we can call that low frequency, a low frequency thought. Let's say you're worried about something and you have this thought about, and you're making up stories about what might happen and scaring yourself half to death with that thought. If you can be the awareness that, hey, if that's a heavy, icky thought, that couldn't possibly be true. So anytime your thoughts are heavy or sad or fear-based or lack-based, that it's not you. It's not coming from the truth of you, which is the fractal of God within. It's your I am presence. Every person has a fractal of God within them. And the God within you is not afraid of anything and is very abundant and totally full of love. So what I began to realize as I deactivated my limitation programs, that voice in the head, the yapping chihuahua, became much quieter, like very, very quiet and hardly speaking unless it's asking me to remember something at the grocery store or to remember that I have this project I need to complete or having to pay bills or whatever. It's good for that stuff. But what really leads my life now is my I am presence, the God within me. And that God within me is unconditional love. And I identify with that now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's so true. Your life today, especially it's important to reiterate what you came from, what you lived through as a child, incredibly toxic, traumatic environment, and you've overcome that. in the most extraordinary way. And now you're like a walking, talking beam of light. Like, guys, I'm serious. Literally, everyone who meets this woman in person falls in love with her. Not in like just a sexual way. Like, everyone you're a magnet because of the light and the love that you project out into the world at all times. And your life is full of vitality and peace and purpose. So what practices or mindset shifts have supported your healing and allowed you to create such a vibrant life? Let's talk about the practices. Obviously, you've had to go inward. You've had to discover what those deep, core, self-limiting beliefs are. How have you gone about changing them?
So imagine that you're going 100 miles an hour and you're going, da-da-da-da-da, I'm so happy. It's such a great day. I love my life, da-da-da. And then all of a sudden you get triggered. And you feel it. Like when you're used to being happy and vibrant and full of love and light, it doesn't mean I'm perfect. I still every now and then run up against, something that triggers me. And I immediately notice, I stop in my tracks and I say, what do I have to be believing for me to respond or react this way to this stimulus or this thought? And then I identify the thought that, I think you and I were doing this a little bit the other day about, I have to have it now, or I have to have all the answers, or, Melanie and I get frustrated with technology quite a bit because it's a big learning curve. And, just the frustration, and you say, well, I have to believe that I have to solve this right now, and that I have to believe that I don't know. Well, guess what? There's a version of me and of you that we do know. That version exists as well. But, the ego mind, the yapping chihuahua says, I'm never going to figure this out. It's going to take forever. I don't have enough time.
It's just in the moment, it's overwhelm and anxiety and frustration. And when you're neck deep in it, it's kind of hard to see your way through it. But, we've talked about building the muscle of mindfulness and choosing your thoughts with intention. We might as well just tell them what happened. So this is not the first time we've attempted to record this episode. And it's not the second time we've attempted to record this episode. I live in a black hole of internet crappiness. Here we go. I was going to use a different word, but we'll go with crappiness. I live in a black hole of internet crappiness, and we are doing the best we can with the technology that we have. Over the weeks of doing the Why of It All episodes, we've found little strategies, little things that we can do to kind of enhance the experience. And every single time a technological glitch shows up, it's an opportunity to learn more about this project that we're working on. It's an opportunity to expand into greater understanding and learn from each one. And in hindsight, it's really easy to say how grateful I am for the learning experiences, and recognizing in hindsight how in a moment of frustration, I was able to learn something very valuable from it. But yesterday, when we were attempting to record number 2 of this, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. In fact, we actually did record number 2. We got finished with it only afterwards to find out that the entire stream was completely unusable. And I was full-blown thrust into overwhelm. I'm happy to admit it. And in the moment, it was really hard to get the clarity for me. It was really hard to get the clarity. So I called her. Which is what I do when my normal tools on my tool belt are either momentarily inaccessible because the intensity of emotion, or sometimes it's just good to get a third-party perspective. Sometimes it's just good to get somebody who's outside to take a look and help guide you through. So I called her, and Mom was able to do what she does and guide me through the process of identifying the beliefs that I had in place, the programs that were running that was causing this just like intensity of emotion around overwhelm. I'm overwhelmed. I'm just so frustrated. I don't know what to do is what kept coming up. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. My sweet husband was doing his best to help me, but I was like, rawr! Bless his heart. He's so patient. I love him so much. But what was so amazing is that through the intentional process of okay, so I'm recognizing here I am in this state. Here I am neck deep in some self-limiting beliefs. While going through the process of first identifying what are they? Well, what are you feeling right now? What's coming up? What's coming up for you? I don't know what to do.
And what I said to you was, what is the voice in the head saying to you right now?
Yeah, what is the voice in your head saying?
See, when you look at it that way, you realize the voice in the head is not you.
Right.
And you're able to question and observe the voice in the head.
Yeah. You become the observer of the situation, which almost instantaneously pulls you out of the emotional reactivity of it. And so that's what we did. We walked through this process of helping me to get clarity of identifying what the voice in the head was saying. What are the self-limiting beliefs that were underneath it all that were allowing this process to unfold? Or allowing me to be in this state of emotional reactivity. That's a better way to put that. And as we walked through it, it was an extraordinary process of acknowledging the beliefs and then letting them go consciously with intention, saying, okay, I can let go of overwhelm right now. This is the reactivity, but there is going to be a solution. Why? Because there's always a solution. There's always a way. We're always going to figure it out. We're always going to find our way through it. There's always going to be some solution. Maybe it happens now, or maybe it comes in an hour, or maybe in a couple of days, but we're going to figure it out. And she's helping me clear these beliefs of, I don't know what to do. I have to do it myself. Nobody can help me. There's that old booger that came up again. And the overwhelm. And within 15 minutes?
Well, actually, so you at home, if you don't have someone like me to help you, you can actually take the time to think of, what do I need to believe? What is the voice in the head saying? And what do I need to believe to be feeling this way or reacting this way? But when you work with me, I have the ability to deactivate those programs within seconds.
Yeah.
So what would happen is Melanie would tell me what the voice in the head was saying, and then I'd clear that out. And then I would say, so is it saying anything else now? And then she'd tell me another layer of what it was saying. And then we would clear that out.
We just dig through layer by layer by layer. And these are tools that I know how to use as well. You and I have gone through decades of this together, of learning how to move through these processes. But a lot of times, we can't always just do it ourselves. We can't always just rely on our own stuff. So I'm so thankful to have you available to help me work through things. Let's offer, though, let's say, what is something that someone in our audience who is maybe something has come up, there's some trigger, and what is a process that we can give them that they can do themselves?
Well, what I was just saying, which is asking, what do I need to be believing to be reacting this way? So let's say you got a bill in the mail that was much larger than what you were expecting. And you just feel that feeling in your stomach, like that
the
fear.
gut punch.
Yeah. And so what would you have to be believing to react this way? Well, that I won't have enough money to pay this bill. And that if I pay this bill, more money won't come to take its place. And so what you do is you just keep asking questions. What's the worst thing about me getting this bill? Why am I reacting this way? And if you will slowly have the awareness and take the time to dig underneath these beliefs, you'll see what the limiting belief was, the bottom belief.
And then when they discover what that is, what do they do about it?
Well, you ask, is this really true? Do I know this is absolutely true?
Is it still true now, or is this something that might have been true a long, long, long time ago, but is no longer actually relevant to my life?
Exactly.
Yeah. So many of the self-limiting programs that we have in place that are running our lives right now. They are the operating system beneath every thought we think, all of our behaviors, our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, our reactivities to things, our triggers are based on old news, right? Old news from a whole different time in your life, childhood perhaps, and you grow and you change throughout your life, and the circumstances are different. And we have the option to recognize those old, outdated beliefs and let them go. Gina and I talked about it in a previous episode with Gina of that's just old gum you've chewed out chewed all the flavor out of. Like, spit that shit out.
Yeah.
And we have the option to make those changes and to adopt new, higher vibrational beliefs in greater alignment with the truth of who we are now.
So basically, we've all been brainwashed through our cultural programming, through whatever was going on in our homes at the time of growing up. And when you awaken and become aware, you no longer have to follow those programs.
Yeah.
But it does take a moment of self-analysis, of self-reflection, and really what we want to get to is self-mastery here.
Yeah.
And my goal in my own self-mastery is to be non-reactive, to just trust and know and be empowered with the truth of who I am, and identify. My biggest goal that I think I've achieved is I identify as love. So, a lot of people like to say you have to love yourself. Well, it's hard to love the yapping chihuahua.
Yeah.
The yapping chihuahua is not so lovable, but when you identify with the fractal of God within you, and everybody has it, and you realize that that's your true identity, then you just literally will have an inner glow. You will love yourself all the time. You will never beat yourself up for anything, because you'll go, oh, I just let the fake character have its way that time and I messed up. Oh, well, how silly of me. Like, you don't take anything you don't have self-guilt. You don't feel bad about who you are. You actually love yourself. And in the same way that a little baby or a toddler that's learning to walk, if it falls, you don't kick it across the room and yell at it.
And the baby itself doesn't stand up and go, oh, I fell again, and judge themselves for it. Try again.
So that whatever level you're at is where you're at right now, and you should have compassion on yourself. So one of my favorite quotes is from Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God. And he said, everyone does what's appropriate given their model of the world.
Right.
So therefore, why would you be mad at yourself? You're doing the best you can for the information you have at the time.
Yeah.
In your state of development, you wouldn't get mad at yourself anymore that you get mad at a little toddler who couldn't walk yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to shift gears a little bit and go back to your career in the beauty industry. You spent decades in the beauty industry before moving into intuitive healing, and then now you're kind of like blending it all together. Tell me about when you were seeing clients in the past. Like, what were you observing about your clients that revealed the deeper truth to you about inner beauty?
That it didn't matter how beautiful I could make them on the outside. If their insides didn't match it, it still didn't work.
Bless their hearts.
Yes. So if you feel unworthy and I make you beautiful, how does that really work? You might like have a good first impression when you walk into a room, but it doesn't take long for people to sense that you don't like yourself or you don't think you're good enough. And so it's so important to cultivate inner beauty as a priority. And the way you can cultivate inner beauty is by deactivating these limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
That's the only way. That way the God within you is what shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the perfect segue. I was going to bring it up later, but right now is the perfect segue. Tell them about your book.
I have written a book called The Beauty Code, and I finished the part that I'm going to do, and now it's ready to go to an editor and a publisher. But that's what my book is about. Melanie, would you like to read the intro to it, and then we can go from
I'm going to
there?
read it right now. That's what I was pulling up. So this is a segment from the introduction to her book that she sent me the other day, and I was just blown away. And the whole thing is amazing, but this is the segment that I really wanted to read to you guys. Inner beauty is not an aesthetic. It's a frequency, a field, a presence that emanates from the truth of who you are, not the personality, not the mask, not the version of you that learned to survive, but the real you, the divine self, the God within. And when you clear the distortion, when you dissolve the limitation programs, the inherited beliefs, the energetic blocks, what's left is radiance, pure, magnetic, effortless radiance. This book is not about teaching you how to be beautiful. It's about helping you remember that you already are. Oh my gosh.
So when you think about it, because I'm 70, I definitely have an awareness about what mature women go through with aging. And I can tell you right now that if you deactivate any beliefs about deterioration, the body goes, oh, okay. And instead, then you're able to embody beliefs about regeneration. So did you know that I think you make new surface skin, like every 6 weeks, you have a whole new surface skin. I think it takes a couple of years to make a new kidney. It takes 10 years to make a new skeleton. Your body has the ability to regenerate. And so if you think, oh no, I'm getting older, nobody will listen to what I say anymore, no one will ever want to love me, no one will ever want to ask me on a date, for the single women out there.
I'm past my prime.
Past my prime.
How many people are walking around with that belief in place?
Yes. Or the best part of my life is over. Now it's downhill from here. I'm going to start deteriorating. My body's going to get some disease and I'm going to die a painful death. Okay. So those beliefs, your body will say, oh, okay. Whatever you say and whatever you believe is what your reality shows you. And your body goes right along with that plan. So another thing that I want to speak about is that your whole reality will shift when you deactivate all these limitation programs, because what you see in your reality is you pushed out.
It's about what you're broadcasting.
Yes, so it's a mirror of who you think you are and what you believe. And when you get to this place where these beliefs are mainly deactivated, your whole reality changes. It has to.
Yeah. I've talked about this in a previous episode of, in the not too distant past, like we're talking within the last 6 months to a year, this intense belief that I had running of, I'm broken. Dealing with a decade of chronic pain and having at that point not experienced any treatment, modality, therapy, diet, supplement, you name it, anything that was producing any significant results, I got to my rock bottom. And at the bottom of that pit was, I'm broken. And I like to tell everybody how I felt like an 80-year-old woman trapped in a 40-year-old body. That's a cool projection to be putting out there.
I remember when you used to say, nothing's working.
Nothing's yes. Nothing is working. Nothing is helping. This is just my life. Now I'm going to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
By the time I'm like 60. And I had to hit that point before I heard it. And I heard the story that I was telling. And it's wild because I know all this stuff, right? Like you and I were learning about belief work and doing the inner work and transforming ourselves from the inside out for decades alongside one another together. And then through this series of events, losing a child, experiencing chronic pain, I fell pretty far down the emotional ladder or the vibrational ladder, right? And it became really, really difficult for me from where I was at to get to where I knew I could be, because I'd been there before and I know how to do it and I've got all the tools on my tool belt. but I wasn't in alignment with it. I was having a really hard time stepping into it. And I had to hit that rock bottom point before I was like, whoa, man. And I heard it. And it took a dramatic deciding that, okay, I've indulged this for a little too long, and I'm not going to allow this to continue. I will not allow this to continue. I believe it was right around the time where I decided to follow some intuition, to follow some guidance, to go to an event where I ended up having a divine appointment and meeting the right person who was going to support me in the next stage of this journey. I almost didn't go, but I felt that intuitive pull. I didn't ignore it. And she told me exactly what I needed to hear. This was Courtney Jacobs, who was on our episode 8, I believe. She said, others can heal, and so can you. And that, because I was already in a place where I was like, okay, I'm aware of this belief of I'm broken and nobody can help me. I was aware of it, and I'm like, okay, I got that. That's got to go. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember, but I assume you probably helped me clear a lot of that out. I was doing a lot of my own work at home as well. But when I heard that others can heal and so can you, I was like, that's it. That's the new belief. That's the new belief I'm installing in place.
Yes.
And putting that into place, releasing the old self-limiting one and replacing it with an accessible belief, one that I could actually get to.
Yeah.
Was a really profound point of shifting for me. And I got from others can heal and so can I to actually I am feeling better. Actually, I'm feeling a lot better in 2 weeks with doing the limbic work and all of that stuff and focusing on my nervous system and clearing out the fear and clearing out the focus on my problems all the time. Retelling the story of my problem all the time, reinforcing those old beliefs.
And didn't you tell me that there was a rule that you weren't allowed to talk about your pain to anyone?
That's part of the protocol with doing this limbic work is it is mandatory that you stop telling the story.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to discuss your symptoms with anyone because all that does, and on a belief level, but also on a neurophysiological level. Is that a word? Neurophysiological? I don't know.
If it isn't a word, it should be.
It is now, and it should be.
Yeah.
It works on both levels.
Yeah.
In this case, I was literally rewiring my limbic system, retraining my nervous system to come out of that fight or flight mode. We've talked about this in this show many, many times. But those beliefs, installing the new beliefs from others can heal and so can I, into the next one of I am beginning to heal. And now I'm really healing. And oh my gosh, I've got my life back. And how does it get any better than this? And now it's been 5 months and I feel better than I felt in a decade. And my new point of attraction, the thing that I think about now is, how good is this going to get? Like, I feel like I'm just about ready to roll down a green grassy hill with my kid, which was like, that's my goal.
Yeah.
My goal was to feel so well that I can roll down a green grassy hill with my kid. And I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
If I'm not there, I'm almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
it's
wonderful.
within reach.
And I think a lot of times that a lot of souls come in and they want to achieve huge amounts of self-mastery.
Yes.
And so they start out with a challenging situation so you can have a before and after. And I see that in you for sure. I see that in me, but I definitely see that in you.
I 100% believe right now that the last 10 years were for me.
Yes.
They sucked. They really sucked being in it. But one of my core beliefs, one of the core beliefs that I will always hold is everything is always working out for
Absolutely.
me. Nothing happens to me. Everything happens for me. And I can look back very, very clearly and see how the events of my entire life, but certainly the ones of the last decade, losing a child, being in pain every single day for 10 years, provided the most extraordinary set of reference points for me,
Yes.
provided for me an opportunity to learn what I'm truly capable of overcoming, to step into a strength that previously I didn't know that I had, to identify all those self-limiting beliefs, to clear them, to release them, so that I could then begin to step into the greatest version of me, the highest version of me, find the God within,
Yes.
find that light that had dimmed for such a long time, re-access it so that I could be it, so that I could be the unconditional love and project that back out into the world, so that I could have this show where my ultimate goal, me and Gina both, our ultimate goal is to just be a source of light for others. And if we touch one person, if we inspire one person to step forward onto their own healing path, if we say something that rings a bell for somebody, if somebody just is out there not feeling as alone in their healing journey as they felt before, raging success. And I know that I needed the experiences that I've had to set the stage for me being who I be today.
Yes.
And same with you.
Yes. And now I feel like I'm a huge contribution on the planet right now for all the people that I help heal. And I would not have had that. I would never have been able to done it without the past that I had, because very rarely does somebody have a situation that they are triggered by that I haven't already experienced and out the other end. So all those moments that I didn't know who I was, and I thought I was a victim, and I thought that life was against me, and I thought I would have to figure out a way to not end up under a bridge somewhere, which, by the way, women in my generation, we were told that if you didn't have a husband, you could end up under a bridge somewhere with the shopping cart. We believed in the white picket fence thing. And now that I know that I am abundance, I am abundance, I am love. I have everything I need, everything. And if I needed something, I truly believe that if I needed it, it would be here.
It would show up.
Yes. And so I am super happy about my whole life journey as I look back on it now. And I wouldn't change a thing.
Not one thing.
And I made lots of mistakes until I had these realizations.
Yeah. I do want to clarify something here that I think is important to clarify. When we talk about stepping into and embodying the God within, when we talk about being unconditional love, loving yourself unconditionally, we're not talking about pride and arrogance in the conventional sense that society would label that as. It's like it's the knowingness of the truth of who you are, but not from an ego perspective. Not from an ego,
correct.
Not from the ego. So the ego is the one who truly, so somebody who's walking around being an arrogant prick, they don't actually believe they're as awesome as they're pretending that they believe. They're being that because they're looking for the validation from others. If you need validation, it's because you don't actually truly, to the deepest extent of you, believe what you're doing, being, saying. You're looking for validation from others. You're looking for approval. You're looking for whatever it is. The type of self-love that we're talking about isn't rooted in ego at all. So somebody can come up to you or I and shower us with compliments, and there's no part of us that feels, how do you explain? There's no egoic validation in that. It's just a receiving of this beautiful gift of someone's kind words. You receive the gift and are grateful for the gift.
Right.
And you don't argue with it. You don't deflect. right? How many people out there, you tell them how beautiful they look, like, oh, well, I just threw it together. Or, oh, no, you look so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's not a receiving. That's a deflection. And something that came to something that I became aware of recently is like, if somebody tries to give you a gift and you don't receive it, it's like you've just slapped them in the face. There's this simultaneity of gifting and receiving that you and I know about, and I've talked about on the show before, where when someone offers you a gift, whether it's words of affirmation or acts of service or whatever, let's, in this, for the sake of this conversation, stick with words of affirmation. Somebody comes up and says, Wendy, my God, you were so beautiful. If you can't receive it, you've just slapped them in the face and said, no, thank you, I don't want your gift. If you can actually know it, know the truth of what they've said, acknowledge it, claim it, and receive it. Not only are you allowing this energetic transfer, this vibrational flow, but you've honored the gift that they've given you, and they get to receive your gratitude as a gift in return.
Yes, it's part of the flow. You want to give and receive both.
Yeah,
but
you can't receive it unless you believe it. You can't receive it if you have those self-limiting programs in place that are conflicting with that. So if somebody said, Wendy, you're so beautiful, and you believe deep inside that you weren't, that you were ugly, you can't receive that gift that's just been given to you.
I went through most of my adult life, whenever I got a compliment, thinking I fooled you with my abilities to do hair and makeup and clothing. I fooled you. And if you really knew, you wouldn't say that. And so it didn't even penetrate, really. I always said thank you, but I never really believed it. And now I know that I am love, I am light, I am beauty. We all are. Everybody has beauty. And when you look through the lens of beauty, so many years ago, I had a transmission from Spirit, and I was told, you are the beauty that sees. And I didn't know what it meant at first. It took me a long time to finally be able to embody that.
Yeah.
And that means that you identify with the God within, and then that's the lens that you view the world and everyone and everything, instead of the lens of judgment. Because if you judge yourself, you're going to judge everything you look at. So when you live your life from the beautiful center that you are, that's what you see, because that's the lens that you see the world.
It's beautiful. Yeah. For those still carrying wounds from the past, believing that they're not enough, what, as a closing message, would you most want to leave them with today?
I would have to say, if you believe that you're not good enough, then you're believing a lie, and it's an illusion, and you've been brainwashed. That's how I look at it. It's not true. And so you have to start, this journey starts with questioning those beliefs. If it doesn't feel light and empowering and love-filled, it's not true.
And it's possible that you are projecting that false reality out into your world, and it's showing up for you, but it's not because that's the inherent truth. It's because that's the belief that you hold that's being projected. And it can be changed.
And the trigger is the gift. All triggers are a gift.
Yes.
Because they show us where we're carrying these distortions. And so when you get triggered, instead of getting all involved in the emotional part of it, instead go, what lie am I buying into right now?
Yeah.
And then find the lie and with your intention, deactivate it.
Yeah.
If you're doing the work yourself, that's really the best way to do it, is just your reality will give you clues, because your reality is you pushed out.
Yeah. So where are you at on this book?
I've written it. It's just, I'm now talking to editors and publishers and things.
Okay.
And it is a journey into finding your inner beauty and being and embodying it. And it's something that no one has ever taught on this planet that I'm aware of. And I'm definitely the one to teach it, because I've lived in the beauty industry, and I've seen what that does to people. And bottom line, we are all so beautiful. And if we could just know that, our lives would change dramatically.
I love it.
Yeah.
So for anybody who is interested in working with you, how can they get a hold of you?
So they can find me they can send me an email at wendyfluke@gmail.com.
And I will put that in the show notes.
Yes. I get a new organization that I just founded called the God Within Ministries, but we haven't got that website set up yet. And so if you would just contact me directly at wendyfluke@gmail.com, if you have questions and you'd like to have someone who will help you with your transformation, I would be honored to support you.
And she's amazing, guys. She's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for being here with us. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit that. Did I just say shit?
You did.
I did.
It's a good thing Violet's not here. She was giving you a violation.
My daughter writes me citations on sticky notes if I swear around the house. If you have enjoyed this episode, please hit that positive affirmation button down below. Whatever platform you're on, like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. Visit epicminerals.net. Check out their incredible wellness products. Every one of those products is really, really incredible for detoxification. They're all very, very clean, and they are made by some extraordinarily wonderful, wonderful people who support this show. So thank you. We love you. See you on the next one.